child.
And tonight, another birth.
We told you about a claim against the state of Arizona over the death of a 20-month-old boy. Adam Mata's birth father said the child welfare system did not protect his child.
And tonight, another birth parent is taking legal action over another child who is battling to stay alone.
Beautiful. She's very smart. I believe that she's been through a lot of abuse and mistreatment that she didn't deserve.
Michelle Tremore is talking about the daughter she brought into this world in 2011, a little girl that she named Devaney. April of 2013, though, at the age of 2, Devaney was removed from both parents.
I was arrested for domestic abuse, assault against the child's father.
Their little girl was placed in several foster homes, including one in Sierra Vista, where she lived with other foster children from 2013 to 2015. That caretaker, David Frosham, the foster father, was arrested last year accused of sexual conduct with a minor, conspiracy to commit sexual conduct with a minor, and sexual exploitation of a minor. Michelle believed all along that Frosham was unsafe.
I told my CPS, DCS caseworker on several occasions due to my concerns, and they were all ignored.
Michelle tells Christie's kids she wanted her daughter back and worked toward that every day, but the state said no. Caseworkers were concerned that Michelle had not totally cut ties with the biological father, who is a convicted sex offender with addiction issues.
I did everything DCS wanted me to and received certificates of completion and was in full compliance when my rights were severed.
This is where the story gets even more heartbreaking. Devaney was placed in the care of Samantha Osteros, was given the new name of Madison, and was adopted by Osteros and her husband. But December 29th, just over a month ago, Madison was rushed to the hospital with burns to over 80% of her body. Investigators say Samantha Osteros did it. But ultimately, Michelle blames the state and says the child welfare system in Arizona does not work.
No, not at all. I do not feel that DCS, CPS protected my child in any way.
Michelle wants permission to see her daughter in the hospital, if for no other reason than to tell her what every child needs to hear.
That I was here for her, that I love her, that I want her to come home, that I'm never gonna let anything ever happen to her, ever.
Tonight, Samantha Osteros is free on $25,000 bond. Her next court appearance is later this month. But again, Madison is fighting to survive tonight at Banner UN.
CPS took daughter from mom over addiction, gave her to leader of child sex ring. An innocent child was taken by CPS and placed in the care of a pornographic pedophile ringleader and abused to the point of near death. By Matt Agarist, June 27, 2017. Sierra Vista, Arizona. While many think that the state taking children from parents is a noble gesture to protect the child, all too often, the state removes kids from a bad situation and throws them into a situation akin to a horror film. A recent lawsuit against the state of Arizona proves this notion. The lawsuit involves a 5-year-old girl whose stay in foster care ended with her being permanently disfigured and fighting for her life earlier this year because of her bureaucratic protection within the system. The child, who is referred to as Jane Doe in the lawsuit, but whose real name is Devaney, was taken from her parents because they had substance abuse issues. Because her mother struggled with addiction, the state took Devaney from her. Like mentioned before, they took her from a bad situation and threw her into a nightmare. After having her child taken, Michelle Tremor Calderon, the girl's biological mother, began to improve her condition. With a clearer head, Tremor noticed that her daughter seemed to be deteriorating in the care of her state-appointed foster parent David Frosham. I did everything DCS wanted me to, and received certificates of completion, and was in full compliance when my rights were severed, Tremor said. After only a few weeks in the care of the Frosham, multiple signs of abuse and neglect began to arise. However, no action was taken. Tremor had pointed out, on multiple occasions, that her daughter had continued urinary tract infections, which can sometimes indicate signs of repeated sexual abuse in children. Her concerns, however, fell on deaf bureaucratic ears. Read more: community leaders, clergy and elite businessmen busted in massive child sex ring, hundreds arrested. I told my CPS/DCS caseworker on several occasions due to my concerns, and they were all ignored, Tremor said. Instead of investigating Jane Doe's biological mother's concerns of abuse, DCS and the defendant caseworkers accused her of making false and exaggerated reports to DCS, the lawsuit states. Despite jumping through all their hoops, the state refused to give back Tremor her daughter. The longer she stayed away from her mom, the worse things got for little Devani. Frodsham had been in the state's foster program from 2002 until 2015 when he was removed after being caught DUI with children in his car, one of whom was Devani. It was no ordinary DUI, however. This monster was so comfy with the status system that was paying him to rape children that he went to the foster office drunk to get paid. As the complaint notes, despite her mother's repeated complaints, the state did not act on behalf of Devani until David Frodsham, driving drunk, left 3-year-old Jane and another child in his parked car while he was collecting his foster parent check in a state office, while visibly drunk and acting belligerent. Even after they found abused children in his car while drunk at the state office, the DCS did not conduct a review of his home. It took him getting arrested again, this time with another child rapist. David Frodsham, the state's choice for a better environment than her own mother, was arrested along with an active duty soldier for allegations of transferring child porn over the internet. Read more: brutal report exposes the most dangerous threat to child sex workers, cops. According to the lawsuit, later, David Frodsham was arrested and accused of sexual misconduct with a minor, procuring minors for sex, and possessing and/or manufacturing child pornography. Law enforcement's investigation revealed a video made by David Frodsham of a 3 or 4-year-old girl being penetrated by an adult male and screaming for her mommy. David Frodsham pled guilty rather than face a trial and has been sentenced to 17 years in the Arizona Department of Corrections. David Frodsham was part of a pornography ring involving numerous children in his pornography and the procurement of sex for the ring. For more than a decade, this sicko likely preyed on children, all of whom were given to him by the state of Arizona. Naturally, one would think that once Tremor's daughter was found to have been placed in a home and sexually abused because of the negligence of the state, they would give Devani back to her mom, who had done everything they asked to improve her situation. However, one would be wrong. Instead of reuniting this poor abused girl with her biological mother, she was placed into another horrifying nightmare. Devani's new state-appointed abuser was Samantha Ostiraz. After staying with Ostiraz for a few months, this little girl would be nearly killed. According to the complaint, defendant Samantha Ostiraz submerged and held down Jane Doe, a 5-year-old, in a bath of scalding hot water. Jane Doe suffered severe burns over 80% of her body. When police arrived, there was blood on the floor and pieces of Jane Doe's skin were falling off her body. There were bruises to her neck and arms along with other signs of trauma. Read more: innocent mom jailed, children kidnapped by police, for homeschooling. Devani was put into a medically induced coma, suffering from organ failure. She lost her toes to amputation and will undergo lifelong operations to replace 80% of the skin on her body, and will need incredible amounts of care for the duration of her life as a result of the abuse she suffered in the Ostiraz's home. No one within the agencies involved in placing this little girl in the care of sick child abusers has been held accountable. The only means of accountability will come from this lawsuit, which seeks punitive damages for negligence, respondeat superior, breach of duty, intentional infliction of emotional distress, assault and battery, and constitutional violations. Sadly, as the Free Thought Project has reported far too many times, this is not an isolated incident.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago. And so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too, because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt-free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.